Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Power Core Productions and Podcastings. And today we're starting another new series here on the channel, continuing with the Anime x DC Comics storyline. Our newest story this week is going to be Campione, Fury of the Gods. What if Godou Kusanagi was Shazam? Season 1. Now, with Campione, it's one of those, if I want to call it an underground kind of anime, it's something that a lot of people have probably heard of and maybe seen at some point in their lives, but it's not something that's popular enough that it's usually talked about in a lot of circles. So, what I've decided to do is, since this is a short series in general with only about, I'd say a handful of manga volumes as a whole, but this series only got one anime season. This season 1, I'm only covering half of the actual season 1. Then we'll cover the second half that will make up season 2, and that'll give me a good range to see whether or not this series is good enough to keep going. You know, kind of like just a way of testing the waters. I do think that this is going to be a fun series to write, and I'm definitely looking forward to adding it to the Pantheon, so I definitely will look forward to your responses in the future. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Our story begins in Sardinia, Italy. A young boy by the name of Godou Kusanagi traveled on a train through the countryside, admiring the architecture of the famed city itself. The reason why he was in Italy, far from his home of Japan, was because he had come to return something that belonged to his now deceased grandfather, what you would refer to as a grimoire. His grandfather was always known for collecting a lot of inns and other oddities and things from all around the world. This one in particular was something he received from a woman by the name of Lucrezia. From how Godo perceived it, it seemed as though the two of them were lovers at one point or another. This woman, who Godo believed was probably in her later stages of life, was probably going to receive this as a token of their past love. For Godo, he was always close with his grandpa, so doing this for him was honestly the least he could do. But even still, to take a small trip to travel across to the other part of the world, it was definitely exciting to say the least. However, as Godo sat on the train all by himself, he found himself falling into a bit of a daze. He wondered how long it would take before he arrived at the next stop, so he figured a nap couldn't hurt him. Tossing his head back, he soon found himself awakening in darkness, only to see that the train had stopped at a particular station. Were they underground? He asked himself. He didn't remember there being an underground stop, but all the same, Godo took his bag and hopped off, walking through the dark corridors, believing that he would find his way to the upper levels of the station. However, the halls only became more and more darker, until only a single light illuminated a hall. As he made his way through, Godo felt a distinct dread wash over him. Perhaps he had made the wrong turn. Had he gone the wrong way? If he turned back now. However, as Godo prepared to leave from which he came, a voice called out to him. Godou Kusanagi. What the? Who's out there? And how do you know my name? Do not waste time with such trivial questions. Step forward, Godo. Godo wanted to turn back, but he didn't feel like he had a choice in the matter. Stilling his courage, he continued to walk until he found himself in what appeared to be a throne room. And off in the far distance, sitting in the center throne, with 3 on his left and 3 others on his right, what appeared to be an older man, straggly, dressed in robe, with what appeared to be a staff. Where am I? How did I get here? This is the Hall of Champions. The older man would stand once more. I have waited a long time for one such as you to arise into this world. Me? I don't even know you. The world is indeed in peril. You are the only one. For this, you were chosen, and I deem you worthy. Worthy? Worthy of what? Worthy of being the next. To be the Campione. Campione? I'm sorry, but I don't know what any of this is. I think you've got the wrong guy. Let me bare my heart to you, Godo. The older man was now standing before Godo as he placed his hand on his shoulder. Godo would have been startled, but the older man looked like he could keel over any time. You are the only one who is worthy to bear the title of Campione. Campione? I have no idea what that is. Dude, what are you trying to... I must give it to you. There can be no one else. No one else? No one else to what? To serve as the champion. You are the only one. I have searched the entire world, and there is not one whom I truly see more worthy than you. So please, while there is still time, you must accept the gift. It is your destiny. Look, if I accept this gift or whatever, can I go? You must go. For Godo, he decided he'd get this over with. Whatever this man had to give him, he'd take it and then leave. Maybe even call the authorities if he could find a way to. Take hold of this staff and say my name so that my power might flow through you. Your name? Yes. You will gain the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury. What is that? An acronym? And say my name. Okay. What's your name then? Shazam. Really? That's your... Say it! Okay, fine. Shazam! Immediately, Godo saw a flash of light, as if lightning had somehow descended from the sky, crashing through the ground and landing towards him. Godo would blink once again and find himself back on the train, now stopping at its assigned station. He saw that the sky was blue and that he was once more back above ground. Had that all been a dream? If it was, then it was definitely a weird one to say the least. However, for Godo, it didn't matter. As he got off the train with his bag in hand, along with the grimoire, a young girl, roughly the same age as him, would stop him in the middle of the street. The girl, dressed in red, long flowing blonde hair and blue eyes that shine like the sparkling ocean itself, drew a knife and held it straight towards him. At first, she spoke in Italian, to which Godo could not understand, so she decided to switch to English. "My name is Erica Blandelli, and I order you to hand over that grimoire, or suffer the consequences." "You're talking about this? I'm sorry, but I can't give it to you." "And why not?" "Because it belonged to my grandfather. I need to take it back to its rightful owner." "Rightful owner? And just who might that be?" "Well, it's not really any of your business, but I'm looking for a woman named Lucrezia." "Lady Lucrezia? And just why would you be looking for..." However, before they could continue the conversation, an explosion would occur nearby. What appeared to be a large boar, something that towered even a massive skyscraper, appeared in the middle of the city. The sky changed slightly, and suddenly all the people that were around them were gone, save for Godo and this girl, Erica or whatever, who was before him. However, Erica would immediately run off, telling Godo to get out of there. As she moved on, a car would come speeding through the streets. Erica would address the girl driving by Ariana, the two of them heading straight towards where the beast was rampaging. Of course, everything in Godo's instincts would have told him to run, but as if a swelling of courage that he had never felt in his entire life, he went in the opposite direction, instead racing towards the danger, his feet moving as if they had a mind of its own, and at great speeds also. "What's going on with me? I know I shouldn't be running towards this, but I can't stop myself." As he continued running, he would bump into someone in the road, a strange individual dressed in all white robe and attire. The individual, who did not reveal himself, would question Godo and what he was doing with the grimoire. Godo explained his story for what felt like the umpteenth time, and the individual, satisfied with the answer, would allow Godo to pass, while disappearing himself. Godo managed to catch up to Erica, even saving her in time from falling. In doing so, Erica was surprised to see that Godo had returned, but all the same, it didn't matter. Although it was peculiar that he was still here in this particular instance. The boar, however, had managed to be subdued for now. But for Erica, she was left with more questions than answers. Following the incident, and with everything seemingly going back to normal, Erica now found herself following Godo, as he was still on his quest to return back the grimoire. Of course, for Godo, he didn't particularly like or even want the company. First, this girl tried to mug him at knife point, then that strange thing happened with the beast, and now she was here? For Godo, he was just left with more questions than answers. What was any of this? Did this have anything to do with that dream? Just what in the hell was going on? All the same, his train was taking longer to arrive than normal, so Erica suggested that they take a ride. She had her own luggage, of course, to which she would make Godo carry, and Godo, having the chivalry that he was raised with, wouldn't allow a woman to carry heavy bags on her own, and as such, he carried them to the car, and before long, he found himself where he needed to be. Although this Lucrezia was not what he was expecting. She was not a haggard old woman, no. She was a woman of charm and beauty, and a little bit of, well, flirtation, to say the least. It was a woman in her prime, although, as she herself would admit, to a human, her age might be old, but in her terminology, she was only just exiting her prime. Although Erica didn't really care too much for the woman's crude ways and behavior, all the same, Godo had done what he had sought out to do in returning the grimoire. Although what was going to happen next, he had no idea. It was late at night, and he had no intentions on trying to forge through till the next day, so he figured he'd just stay here for the night. Then afterwards, he could just go home and forget any of this ever happened. One way or another, things ended up spiraling out of control. Erica, Ariana, and Lucrezia all deciding to enjoy a new bottle of wine. And it didn't take long for the liquid courage to start flowing through and for a proverbial shit to hit the fan. Not in a bad way, no, nothing outrageous happened. It was just that everyone was drunk out of their minds, and Erica was the worst. She sat in front of a vanity mirror for an hour, thinking she was talking to Godo, only to be talking to her own reflection. She had had one too many drinks, and Godo decided he was going to carry her to her room to get some rest. Although, ever a trickster, Lucrezia would make sure that the door was locked behind them. After all, having two young and attractive people trapped in the same room together, you never know what was liable to happen. Well, thankfully, Godo kept his restraints and his morals, although it was definitely hard to say the least, and why wouldn't it be? Despite her attitude and her crazy antics, she was indeed beautiful. No one would deny that. As she changed into her sleeping clothes, Erica, after going through a drunken stupor and apologizing, although not remembering what it was even for, she would fall to the bed and go to sleep, with Godo deciding to just sleep on the couch next to the bed. Although, safe to say, the next day, things only got more and more hectic. Erica would awaken, finding Godo in her room, and she held a sword to his throat. Of course, she was more embarrassed than anything else. The fact that he saw her in such a way, so indecent and improper of a knight of her caliber. Although even still, Godo would profess his innocence. However, this ever-ending game would be cut short as the sky turned dark once more. And for Erica, she knew this was a sign of things to come. Immediately racing out, Erica would leave along with Ariana as they went racing towards the trouble that was brewing in the distance. Again, Godo's courage ended up showing once more, as he would not only follow them, but he had also kept the grimoire. For some reason, Lucrezia had wanted him to keep it, although for reasons even he didn't fully understand. Erica was serious, though, warning that if Godo came along, she wouldn't be responsible for his safety. Godo understood this and accepted the consequences. In the meantime, they saw what appeared to be a massive figure, a man that towered almost to the skies, like something out of the legend of gods themselves. Erica recognized who it was. It was a rogue god. A rogue god? Godo would ask. Yes. A long time ago, gods used to walk the earth with man. However, after the great calamity, the gods reserved themselves to the heavens. However, from time to time, they wish to descend from upon high, and they make trouble in the human world. Say a god of fire is to emerge. Then, to the human eye, it appears as though a great calamity of flame has occurred, or a god of water. It's usually a great flood of sorts. Humans who do not have access to magic cannot perceive the gods. They can only perceive them as natural destruction and things of that nature. However, when two or more get into conflict on the earth, it usually leads to bad things. Then why are you? Because it is my duty as a knight, Godo. I have to stop this in one way or another, even if it costs me my life. cost you your life. Are you insane? There's no way you can take on all these gods by yourself. As a knight of the Copper Black Cross, I must do what is expected of me, Godo. I cannot change that. As they continued on, they would eventually catch up to the god in question, the one known as Melkort, one of the more ancient rogue gods. He had come down specifically because he had been called to do battle, with Godo getting a chance to see who the other god was. It was that boy he had ran into in the town. His true name, Verithragna, the god of victory. Verithragna would recognize Godo, surprised to see that he was here. It seems I was right about you, boy. Destiny does shine upon us this day. Tell me, are you the one who has come to claim victory? Claim victory? What do you mean? No! You have to stop. If you continue fighting like this, innocent people will be hurt. A god cannot concern themselves with the trivial trials of man at times such as this. Now, Melkort, I've called you here once because you denied me victory once before, but not again. I am the god who must hold to the title of which I bear forth, and victory is something I cannot be denied. The two ancient gods prepared for battle, as Erica would step forward, summoning her blade from the mouth of a lion, sending forth her own counterstrike, attempting to fend off the two ancient gods herself. For Godo, he wasn't sure of what to do in this moment. How on earth could he possibly get involved at a time like this? He knew that he had to do something, but he wasn't quite sure on how to act. It was then, though, it was that dream that he recalled to his mind with the old man. Say my name, so that my power might flow through you, my chosen Campione. But what would happen? Could he really afford to take such a risk? It was either do that, or everything could be lost. I hope this works. Godo looked to the sky. Taking a deep breath, he called out the name of the champion. Shazam! Immediately, lightning would strike down upon Godo. His body had morphed and changed. He became a bit more taller, more muscular. He was still himself, but he felt like he was in his prime, as if this was his absolute peak. He donned an attire of red and gold, a white cape that flowed on his back, and the lightning bolt insignia borne on his chest. Erica turned to see what had happened, but as she took a look upon him, she couldn't believe it. You are the chosen? Godo would step forward, Verithragna and Melkort turning back to see what had taken place. So, that is who you are. And you even carry the grimoire itself, the one of the trickster, Prometheus, the one of whom stole fire from the gods themselves and brought it to man, a thief of the gods. That is who you truly are. I will only say this once. Turn back now and go to the realms from which you came. I do not wish to kill you. Verithragna would grin. But that is what I want. I've come here for a challenge, and I will not be denied my glory. So, are you the one, Are you the Campione? Kusanagi Godo! Verithragna would summon the golden sword, attempting to strike at Godo. Godo would raise his hands, creating a barrier that contained himself, Erica, Ariana, and Melcourt. You are indeed a powerful one. A Campione being reborn. I believe this would make you the 7th king. Melcourt, you are only summoned here because of Verithragna. You have no ill intentions to the people. Then I propose a deal that will give us both victory. You dare to bargain with a god? This is my first time, after all. I was hoping that we could make peaceful negotiations. You're an interesting brat, to say the least. Okay, I'll hear you out. Godo, Yeah, I can see. But still, I can't say I fully understand everything that's going on here. But I believe the grimoire bestowed upon me can give me the victory that I seek. I just don't have any idea on how to use... Before he could finish that sentence, Erica's lips would lock with his. What seemed like an ordinary kiss was anything but. It was a technique, one used by magic users themselves. A sharing of a kiss could share intelligence, knowledge, anything that one lacked. For Erica, she simply bestowed upon Godo the knowledge needed to be able to comprehend and truly use the grimoire to its fullest potential. In doing so, Godo would turn the tide of battle. With the golden sword, the sword of victory, almost piercing through the barrier, Godo would use the opportunity. With the grimoire itself, he would take hold of the golden sword, the blade of victory, a blade that could be used to slay the gods. Taking hold of it into his own hands, Godo raised the blade as he ascended into the sky, looking back to Verithragna. Verithragna, god of victory, you come to the earth to cause calamity in seeking of your own selfish glory and ambition. You are a prideful warrior, one worthy of respect and honor through the great halls themselves. However, I am the one who will bring your madness to an end. Your seeking of victory stops here, for I will be the one that cuts you down. Henceforth, the name of Godo Kusanagi, the Campione. In one fell swoop, the blade would pierce Verithragna in the chest. The god yelled out in pain. However, a look of satisfaction filled him as well. So, it seems I was correct. You are a god slayer. Very well, Godo. Then live on. Do not be defeated. I want you to win. Continue to win. Win until you and I can fight once more, and I can claim victory for myself. Verithragna would disappear, his ashes scattering to the wind, as Godo took the sword in hand. Very well. I will wait until you return. But if you do, you will not gain your victory. Godo would descend to the ground. Melcourt, the rogue god, returned to the realm from which he came. As everything seemed to go back to normal, Godo would say Shazam once more, turning back into his regular state as he fell over, But before hitting the ground, he would be caught in the arms of Erica, who looked down upon him lovingly as his eyes would close. A week would pass, and Godo found himself back home, where he shared his home with his sister, the only family he had since the passing of his grandfather. As Godo woke up in bed, he knew he'd have to get ready for school soon. He couldn't make sense of what had happened. Perhaps it was all a dream. And if it was, then it was good to be home from it all. However, as he stirred to get himself dressed, there was someone in his room, in his bed particular. I need to get ready. Godo? Get me a cappuccino, caramel, extra cream, 2 sugars. I like it piping hot. Yeah, okay. Also, Godo, would you mind getting my slippers? Yeah, okay. Your bed's really soft. I like sharing it. Me too. I'm gonna go take a shower, Erica. I'll be back in a bit. Godo, snapping back into reality, ran back into his bedroom to see the one in question under his sheets. And from the looks of things, the sheets was all the covering she had. Where's that cappuccino, my love? What the hell? This is the tale of the Campione, imbued by the great wizard Shazam. He possesses power unlike any other in the world. To some, he is considered a king, to others, a demon. However, he bears the title of God Slayer, the one of whom is the protector of the world. This is the story of Godo Kusanagi in his journey as a Campione and the many women who follow him. This concludes Campione, Fury of the Gods. What if Godo Kusanagi was Shazam? Season 1, Part 1. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that is to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue with Part 2 of What If Godo Kusanagi Was Shazam? Campione, Fury of the Gods, Season 1, Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.